Kenny Rogers is about to get some well-earned recognition. Starting next month, he'll be honored with an exhibit at the Country Music Hall of Fame and Museum in Nashville. He sold more than 100 million records, and we're happy to welcome him back to Studio 57. Kenny, good morning.
Cost me a lot of money to buy all those records, too.
You've kind of had a chance to relive your life and career with this exhibit being put together,
really
haven't
amazing.
you?
They've done a great job of collecting things. You know,
I read a lot of it came from two diehard fans who've seen 1,300 of your concerts.
1,300 shows, and their husband, bless his heart, he drives them around. But they've been there for like 25 years, and they have things that old T-shirts that we had years ago, and ticket stubs and things that really, it's fascinating. The collection of stuff they had.
1,300 items?
Yeah, 1,300 shows.
Shows they went to.
1,300 shows.
Yeah.
Did they leave you porcelain dolls that looked like your children?
Well, you know, they come backstage every night. They're the most unassuming people I've ever met. They don't come back unless we invite them, unless there's a chance for it. And they bring me flowers every night with the number of shows on it. So it's
very nice.
It's pretty cool.
That's incredible. So what did you want this exhibit to say about your career, or to remind people?
Well, you know, my career has been very varied, to say the least. I started off in high school singing doo-wop music, and then I went to an avant-garde jazz group. I played upright bass and sang jazz for 10 years. And then I left that, went to the new Christy Minstrels. And in the Christies, I learned something really important. I learned the value of story songs that have social significance. If you look at Ruby Don't Take Your Love to Town, it's about a Vietnam War vet who comes back and his wife's having an affair. Reuben James, about a black man who raised a white child. Calvary of the County is about a rape. So they're all stories with social significance.
Islands in the Stream, one of my favorites of all time.
That's because Dolly's on that, and
But you're great with duets with Sheena Easton.
That's one of my favorite times in my life, is doing the duets, because you always like running the 100-yard dash. You think you run as fast as you can, but you put someone alongside you who runs faster, and you are going to run faster.
I read that Dolly said something to you very recently related to funerals.
We were recording, we have a new record called You Can't Make Old Friends that was written especially for us by Don Schlitz, who wrote The Gambler. And it's very touching. It talks about when we're gone and what's going to happen. And Dolly came over in the middle of the songs and put her arms around me. This is what I love about her. She put her arms around me and said, Kenny, I could never sing at your funeral. And I was like, so we're assuming I'm going first? Is that But I mean, that's just so Dolly. She says what's on her mind, and I love that about her. That's what makes her so special.
How many years have you two worked together?
We realized in the studio when we were doing this song that Islands in the Stream was 30 years ago that week that it became #1.
Can I ask about We Are the World?
Yeah.
Because that's part of the exhibit, right?
Yeah, I have one of the few sheet musics that's signed by everyone that was in the studio that night.
Who in that room were you most impressed by, in awe of? You have to choose.
It's really interesting because it's, when I walked in that room, I was at the peak of my career.
Right.
And I was totally in awe of everyone there,
But who was the one that was like?
Paul Simon, for some reason or other. I love Paul Simon, and I've always loved his work. And when you go through and you look at that, he's got a unique place in there too.
Kenny, you've had 60 top 40 hits, I think. It's an extraordinary number. But there is one song I read that you were sort of upset that you let slip away.
Well, yeah, I don't know why. You do stupid things. When you listen to songs, it depends on kind of what mood you're in, I guess. But I listened to Wind Beneath My Wings, and there was something here where it said, did I ever tell you you're my hero? And for some reason, it just sounded weird to me, so I passed on it. Then I heard it about 2 months later. Bette Midler did it, and it went.
If you had sung that song, would that have meant that you would have been in Beaches with Barbara Hershey?
I think that's.
That would have been interesting.
Yeah, it would have. But it was such a great song, and I can't believe I passed on it, because I don't think I've ever passed on another hit. I mean, when I look at songs that are out there.
You've trusted your gut, and it's paid off well.
Yeah.
You've only made one mistake. That's a good thing, in a fabulous
It was a big one, wasn't it?
May I say, I miss your fried chicken.
We're in talks with them now about bringing it back over here.
But there are a lot in Asia. I mean, Asian people love your fried
huge
chicken.
over there.
Yeah.
Well, the people who put up all the money for it were Asian. So we gave them the international rights to it. but they've been talking to me about bringing it back into this country.
Terrific. And the potatoes are
Seinfeld
good,
needs
too.
more stuff.
Kenny Rogers, thanks so much.